Shalom, family. It's good to see you all here. So, we're just going to kind of have a fun evening and just talk about some of the things going on. So, I am glad, I am very glad to see you all. And I hope everybody is having a wonderful, wonderful day. So, the True Royal family is joining me. I guess she just, maybe in a few minutes, she'll be here, you know. So, in the meantime, I don't know if any of you have saw the Olympics. The women ran the 4x4, and when I say they shut the place down, they did so well. They did just that. So while we're waiting for Kim, I'm going to put that up on the screen so y'all can watch it. If you missed it, you missed something spectacular. You really, truly did. So hold on, let me share my screen and we'll watch this together. This is the 4x4 US women's team. And it's a team full of sisters. So they put that work in. Okay, let me turn the volume up. Okay, give me a one if you can see my screen. Please give me a one if you can see my screen. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, here we go. You see that, dude? The US team kicked they butt.
Sure did. You should have heard me.
That was
I'm in here
so
talking
great.
about that. I ain't seen the league like. Boy. She was in the race by herself.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep.
But I
And the thing is, they couldn't be touched. They said the people in the stadium was on their feet. They were just blown away at how fast these women were.
the last few Olympics, black women around the world been representing,
Yes.
representing. I've been I was watching the water polo earlier when the Olympics started. The female women's water polo team, and they got one black girl in there, and she's the goalkeeper. You can
Yeah.
barely get a ball past her. I ain't never
Mm.
even heard of this girl.
Yeah.
Then
John Cano said my Jamaicans gave up. Actually, she dropped the baton. That's why she stopped
you can't leave them
in the race
Jamaicans
that you
out.
just saw. Yeah.
You can't leave them Jamaicans out. No, they're not the
Mm.
ones to play with.
Yeah, yeah, that's why she stopped because she had dropped the baton.
Oh, okay.
So that's when she stepped off of the track. It was nothing she could do from that point on.
Yeah, if you don't take that baton, you got to take that baton and slap it in the other person's hand to the point where it hurt. But if you're trying
Mhm.
to, and then also they gotta be running at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, it's something else.
But
Uh,
yeah, the Olympics have turned, like when it comes down to track and field for both the men and women, it has literally turned into the Jamaicans versus the Americans
yeah,
because
that's what we be
nobody
waiting
else is
for.
going to touch them. Yeah.
And if y'all seen who the coach is for the Jamaican team, it would shock y'all. Um,
Mhm.
there's a documentary about track and field, and a lot of these people that went to the Olympics are there, and but the Olympic coach for like I said, back for Jamaica, they don't have the best facilities or anything. It's some black guy, overweight, look very unassuming, and he's produced a lot of Olympian athletes,
Mhm.
a lot of
Mhm.
them.
But yeah, I
Um,
think it would have been a challenge from the Jamaicans had she not dropped that baton on the second leg.
yeah, that's
And,
true.
when she passed the baton, if you notice, when it started out, the Jamaicans were actually leading.
Uh
And then
huh.
when she passed it off to the second woman, she dropped the baton.
Yeah, that's the that see that the to the when they were running the relays with the the Americans here, the brothers, didn't pass that baton right, and it set them way back.
Yeah.
It can jack you up. It really
Mhm,
can.
mhm,
But it's been
mhm.
enjoyable um, watching it. What I wanted to mention was when I was watching the swim team relays. Um, the fastest one on the team was this black girl, and I had told Lisa this story. And what they did was they ended up getting the silver, and they could have got the gold, but because of the coach racism, the fastest one on that team was the black girl. They
Mhm.
put her last. If they would have put her out front first, she would have she would have the other team she wouldn't have had to work so hard in the end. And
Right.
they just outlapped her because the other ones were just too slow,
Mhm.
and everything. I said
Mhm.
that was dumb, but you so worried about them white folks getting the glory, you screwed that up. You really did. And then Noel Lyons, he ended up getting COVID, so he had to um, he ended up not finish not being able to participate in some other events. Um, Even though he did get a goal in the 100, one thing I think it kind of frightened him was when they were running the heats. He kind of took it light, and them brothers came to run.
Mhm.
And after that, he said, "Oh," he even had to admit, "Oh, they not playing. Nah, brother,
Right.
can't
Right.
be out can't be out here taking this stuff light when people are in the Olympics. It's every 4 years. You don't know who gonna show up. You just
Right.
don't know."
And both the US men and women basketball teams both got the gold.
Oh,
And,
okay, yeah.
LeBron James was voted as MVP, which I knew he was going to get it. I knew he was.
Steph Curry put in eight 3 pointers,
Yep.
popped them people's eyes out. And then
Mhm.
they introduced some new sports. And the one that was the most corniest to me was breakdancing. I said, first and foremost, how did you judge that? And you didn't see hardly any of us in the breakdancing. And,
Right.
it,
That's because
and
everybody duplicates us.
yeah, and everybody, um, they looked real corny. Everybody was moving the same. Um, it was. I was like, I'm not watching this. I am not watching this at
Oh,
all.
man. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Uh-uh.
So, y'all, occasionally Kim likes to tease me
Oh
and
Lord, here we
tell
go.
me she got some cherries. She got some cherries for me that she getting ready to eat. She does things like that's the kind of stuff she does. So I thought about something
Okay.
and I decided to make a story out of it that I'm going to show y'all. Y'all
Oh,
ready for this?
Lisa, wrong. Whatever about to go down.
All right, y'all, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the name of this bedtime story is called The Mean California Lady with Cherries, narrated
What?
by Lisa Cabrera. So,
No, she didn't make a whole damn
a
video out of
woman
this.
by the name of Kizzy,
Kiss it.
and she owns a cherry orchard out in California. And Kizzy is not so nice with the cherries. And she doesn't try to hide the fact that she's not nice with the cherries, ladies and gentlemen. So, we're going to go over the story. Not only is this a good story, but there is a moral to the story that I'm about to tell you.
Can't believe
And
this.
it's a lesson on not only showing compassion for those without cherries, but how a turn of events can impact you as well. So that's what this whole story is about. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to it.
Oh,
Let's
I'm
get to
afraid.
this.
I'm afraid. I done walked into something.
Mhm.
Oh Lord.
So, once upon a time, there was a woman out in California by the name of Kizzy. Kizzy owned one of the biggest cherry orchards in California. It was beautiful and fragrant and produced some of the biggest cherries you've ever seen in your life. Well, she had a cat named Regal, and Kizzy and Regal would indulge in these cherries, and they would enjoy these cherries and had cherries all day long. It was such an abundance of cherries in this orchard that it was an endless supply of it, ladies and gentlemen. Must be nice to live that way.
Mm-hmm.
It must be nice. Well, she had a friend in need by the name of Lizzie that lived in New Jersey. And one year, New Jersey had no cherries, none. So Lizzie reached out to Kizzy and said, "Can you please spare me some cherries? I haven't had a cherry all season, and I just want a few. If you can help me out, I would deeply, deeply appreciate it. I know you were blessed with all of those cherries and that big
Ladies.
cherry orchard you have with over 200 trees in it. Can you please help me, Kizzy? Can you please help?" And she paused for a moment and thought and thought. And she looked at Lizzie and said, "I wish I could spare you some of these cherries, but my cat Regal also eats the cherries, and it just would be difficult for me to send you some, being that you're way in New Jersey and we're way in California. So I can't give up none of my cherries because then Regal won't have any cherries to enjoy with me. And I'm sorry about your situation in New Jersey with no cherries." So Lizzie put her cat, Lorena, in front of the counters to beg. And Lorena said, I know, California is far from New Jersey, but Regal, I'm talking to you. Can't you please help a fellow cat
This
out,
cat look
a
busted.
fellow sister cat with some cherries? You don't have to send us a lot, just a
Oh,
few, so that we can enjoy some cherries this season too. If you can spare some, please let me know. Please let me know. I really would love to have some cherries this season. We haven't had any because there's none on the shelf here in New Jersey. There's nothing. The shelf is empty where the cherries should be. Mm, mm, mm. Now, you would think with that amount of begging, it would have been effective, right? And Regal, the cat, would have a heart and say, "Can we please send them something?" Well, ladies and gentlemen, that did not happen. It didn't happen. And Regal pretty much said the same thing that Kizzy said. "We don't have any to spare." So they were waiting for the next harvest to come, for the new cherries to come in, and had a big, beautiful orchard that was in full bloom for the following season. And so Kizzy and her cat Regal were looking forward to another very abundant cherry season out there in California. My, what a beautiful orchard. Trees are endless across the land. Kizzy is truly blessed with all of these cherries and all of her wealth from growing these cherries. And something tragic happened. California got struck with drought, a drought that was so bad that the orchard did not produce that many cherries that year. And so now Kizzy and Regal were in the same boat that Lizzie and Lorena was in the previous years. So all of the wealth that she would have normally gotten from the cherry orchard, she did not get the next season. And now it was Kizzy and Regal looking for cherries to enjoy that season. And it just wasn't any for them to enjoy because of the big California drought. So by then, Lizzie's daughter, Lakeisha, took over the orchard, and she had a cat named Lindsay. And Kizzy reached out to see if Lakeisha would send some cherries. And Lakeisha thought about how Kizzy would not send her mother Lizzie a cherry from her big wealthy orchard. So she turned Kizzy down. She says, I'm sorry. I remember what you did to my mom. You had all those cherries and you were teasing her with those cherries. And now I took over our orchard and I don't have any cherries for you. And that mangy cat Regal. Y'all can starve. Y'all can starve as far as
Mangy.
I'm concerned. Me and my cat Lindsay, we are fine and we're enjoying the cherries every day. Maybe if you would have sent anything, you wouldn't even send my mother a cherry pit. But now you got your hand out to me. Well, I ain't sending you nothing. I ain't sending your butt nothing. Not a cherry stem. I'm not even sending you the stem from the cherry. That's what you get.
Oh my
Ha. So now I can't mail you no cherries because me and Lindsay are going to eat the cherries ourselves.
goodness.
Understand, Kizzy? Do you understand? We gonna eat the cherries ourselves.
Oh,
So
what the heck?
Lakeisha has become a cherry czar in New Jersey, being the most wealthy woman in cherries. So she said a resounding no to Kizzy. No, I can't send you a cherry. No, I'm not sending Regal any cherries. No cherries for you. So you better pray that your orchard comes back next year or you are out of luck. So Kizzy understood and finally got the moral of the story. If she would have spared some cherries to her friend Lizzie in New Jersey when there was a cherry famine in the state, then the same would have been extended to her. But the moral of the story is don't be selfish with the cherries. The end.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I have to admit, my grandkids been here with me 11 days, and we went to the grocery store twice, and I bought 5 pounds of cherries
And she
twice.
probably was in the grocery store talking about, I'm buying Lisa some cherries.
And I told my grandkids,
Oh,
don't
man.
eat. I told them don't eat one cherry to make them sick. It's not really good for them. Do you think I shared any cherries with them kids?
That is
And
a
then,
damn
and
shame.
then this, I ain't gonna lie. This morning, Amari was cleaning the refrigerator out, and he found my stash. He said, "I didn't know you had some cherries." I snatched the bag. I am not selfish by nature. Lisa know it, but I don't know what it is. about them cherries and pomegranates, I won't share any. The season is short. I don't care. You are on your own. In fact, my husband bought me some cherries during the cherry season. And I asked him, did you get your own bag? I won't share them. I just simply won't. But see, Lisa wrong. She just took pictures of cherries and sent them to me. I make big, fat, juicy ones and
Ooh.
stuff. And my both of my aunts in Arizona was calling me talking about, I'm fine. I keep finding cherries. So I went out and I said, this is the first time cherry season has been extended this long in California. Man, them cherries been so good. Lord have mercy. And they take, Lisa, I'm gonna tell you when they taste the best. When your whole family is asleep and about around about 3 o'clock in the morning, they the best. I'm telling y'all. But see, Lisa taught me how to hide the cherries. I ain't giving up her secrets and stuff. I even know where she hide hers. But her family might be listening. I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness. In the I love the names. Oh my goodness. Cherry season been wonderful. Y'all think I'm playing. I don't share the stem, the seed, nothing. And I can eat them, eat them, eat them. I just had some too. I got just a little bit left. So I'm gonna have to go back to the store tomorrow to get some more. I know exactly where to go. Mm. Wow.
Mm. Wow. Yeah, well,
Mhm.
one good thing, we get them, and I don't know about many of you in the chat, we now get them year round. They
Wow.
started doing it for the first time during the lockdown. We had the lockdown,
Uh-huh.
and I was shocked. I went online because I have membership with BJ,
Mm-hmm.
and BJ sent an email saying, and it was December. No, it wasn't December. I'm sorry. It was February.
Uh-huh.
And it says, we have cherries. And I thought, how the hell do you have cherries? And I went and looked, and they had cherries. They had a bunch of them.
And
And
BJ always have the best fruit.
man, I think I bought like four pounds of cherries, and they were good. They got them out of, I believe then they got them out of Argentina.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. And they then announced a few weeks later, we will have cherries year round from now on.
Yeah,
You know?
I found out the biggest cherries that naturally grow without adding anything to it
Mhm.
is somewhere up in the mountains in Italy near an active volcano. Lisa, I have
Whoa.
never seen. Yes, I'll send you the link to it. I never seen cherries this big in my life. It's like taking three Bing cherries and putting them together. And the
Wow.
company, the family that grow them, I searched all online to see if them people sell, will ship them out. Them people need a tail whooped to grow something that good and keep it contained like that. They really do.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. Yeah. I'm out.
But you know what? I wanted to share something with y'all that blew my mind. I was listening to um, the Midas Touch um, yesterday, and there's an interview. Well, it's sort of like an interview. They was just more so like we doing, just chopping it up with Amarosa and Michael Cohen. I cannot convey to y'all. Go listen to that video. I listened to it 3 times. The inside stuff that Amarosa and Cohen was saying about Trump, because and I was really more so listening to Amarosa because she hasn't really been out there like that because she has gotten more um, deeper into her ministry, and I'm gonna share something with y'all. I do not like some of the choices that Amarosa has made, but I would be lying to y'all. I like the way the woman put herself together. And this woman turned out to marry one of my relatives that I don't even know. My aunt know him, but yeah, she's married into my family now. But I'll just give y'all a little tidbit. She talks about when how the Trump family tried to bribe her and said that they would give her $20,000 for the rest of her life. I don't know what she know on them, what she have on them, but it is deep. It is really, really deep, really, really deep. But I just can't convey to y'all. Go to the. I don't know if any of y'all listen to that channel because they be dragging Trump all day. It's called the Midas Touch.
Oh, yeah. He sure does.
They wear his
Mhm,
tail out. Lisa, the other day I seen a picture of Trump. He didn't have on that orange. He didn't have on that orange makeup, and he was up there just whining like he usually do. He looked drained. I mean, he did not look right at all, and he cannot get past because he's always hung up on numbers and polls and everything. And I was even shocked when Campbell went to Arizona, and
mhm.
Arizona is a Republican state, and it's about 6% black folks live there. You would not believe the crowds that they had out there. And then there are very known Republicans um, endorsing this woman. See,
Wow.
Trump don't have as many friends as he try to claim he have, and these
Trump is very hated.
uh,
Trump is very hated. A lot of people don't like Donald Trump.
no, they
And
don't.
I noticed they don't say nothing about it in the media. There's a lot of people in this country that don't like that man. Mm-mm.
No, he's not like, and to show his level of nastiness. Now he came out when he spoke to those black journalists, and he want to talk about they made him wait for a half an hour, and he was back there trying to control the narrative because he didn't want certain questions. He didn't want them to fact check him. Um, well, the other day when he gave a rally, he made them people wait 90 minutes. He is known for being late, not no half an hour late, always hours late. He's known for
Wow.
this stuff. And then so everything was just an insult to black folks. But see, Omarosa said he can't help himself. This to see that sheer amount of educated black folks that would have their own organization of black journalists that got to
Mhm,
him. And then I guess he thought he was going to see, he's very delusional. He thought
mhm.
that he was going to come around some black folks and they was going to praise him. So he going to say that he's done more for us than Abraham Lincoln. Well, he don't even know Abraham Lincoln's history. Abraham Lincoln didn't do a damn thing for us.
No, he sure
He
didn't.
was just as racist as the rest of them, you know. Um,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
I've been doing a lot of research on him. And one thing I kept listening to, and it was getting on my nerves. I said, "This man, his verbiage is horrible."
It
So
is.
so there was some people that have been writing a number of articles about him, and they said he speak on a fourth grade level, and he'll say things like, "Oh, I win by a lot, a lot, a lot." I mean, that's very elementary the way he speak. Then what?
Mhm.
The other day he was trying to spell polls, which is spelled POLLS, not POLES. He can't get the most simplest stuff down. And then I read something where this fool was speaking to some Presbyterians, and he was asking some of the dumbest questions, and he didn't realize he grew up Presbyterian. He ain't bright.
What?
Yes,
What?
yes, Lisa.
That's
I
just
mean,
as bad as him not knowing Puerto Rico was a commonwealth of the U.S.
no,
He taught
no, he
us
didn't.
something separate.
And you remember he would get mad when they would have a natural disaster in this country. And what his ornery ass would do, he wouldn't even sign the paperwork to release the funds.
Mhm.
He would just let it sit there. And what they were saying was that after they had that after they had that debate with him and Biden,
Mhm.
people were calling in, emailing him already. They was already asking, could they be a part of his inner circle of his camp. Now they didn't put Campbell in, and he don't know what to do. He don't know
No.
what to do. And what blew me back, and I learned this from you, Lisa, he gonna have the nerve to try to make a request where Campbell can't get the campaign money.
Mhm.
I said that's a nerve. All he do is he always have to have a crutch in place. That's how he has operated all his life. Somebody's always helped him. It's always a helping hand. Always a helping hand. Like,
Right.
and it went past a lot of people. He couldn't come up. He couldn't. It could. It was not one company out there that would front him the bond money up there in New York. See, he didn't burn his bridges so bad in New York. He can't do no business in New York. They don't even want him in New York. So he claimed he's this big time billionaire and everything. So he can't find no company that would front him. So he go back, him and his lawyers go back and tuck their tail, say, well, I can't come up with the money. It couldn't meet the deadline. So the DA said, okay, we'll cut it in half. Oh, no problem. I got that. That check bounced all over New York,
Wow.
literally. They couldn't even come up with half. And you would think, now,
Well,
everyday
didn't he
folk,
say, didn't Trump say he was a billionaire?
yes, he did. Yes, he
Okay.
did. That, now, everyday folk, if you own some property and you done got yourself in a situation, you would just put your property up.
Mhm.
That speaks volumes about what's really going on in his world. And they say what's stressing him out is he knows that, and Amorosa spoke on this, if he do not get elected as president, um, he is really seriously worried about all his legal problems. He know he ass
Yeah.
out. He
That's
know
all. He wants to be president so he
the
can have
protection.
immunity. He don't
Uh-huh.
care about this nation. This is all about him. This
Yeah.
really is. His presidential run is all about him. It's not
Yeah.
about anybody else.
And he ain't even hiding it because these dummies who support him, he pretty much saying it. And see, this is the part that get me, where they vote against their interests. They so worried about us getting a penny, an extra penny in our pocket, which we're not gonna get and ain't never have gotten from this country. And they the Republican Party and the Democratic Party been riding on that for the longest, because they keep making these statements like, well, if black folks don't get out and vote for the Democratic Party, Trump gonna get you. And I keep saying, what is there to fear?
The scared
Why are
the
we?
scare tactics are not going to work.
No, they're not gonna work. Trump
Mm.
didn't really put himself in a situation. And like I said, it, as much as I can't stand Campbell, I do take joy in him squirming. He losing sleep, and he ranting and raving, and the stuff that he be saying don't make no sense. I remember one of his close friends said to him, they said, Trump, you lying about things that's not even necessarily to lie about.
Mhm.
It just don't make no sense. But one thing that they did say, because everything is extreme with him, he's a malignant narcissist. And when y'all look up the definition of a malignant narcissist, that you can't go no further than being that type of a narcissist. You really can't, really can't. Um, but I picked up on one thing that I really picked up on when he spoke to those sisters and how he talked down to them. Actually, he revealed some things. I said, if those reporters start coming at him like that, he gonna start cussing and saying nigga. He ain't gonna
Mhm.
be able to control it. And uh, He was supposed
Yeah,
to be
well,
clean.
his nephew Fred Trump, when he came out to endorse Kamala, he said he used the N word all the time behind the scenes.
I'm
He
surprised
said
it
he
ain't.
used, and so did Mary. Mary said the same thing.
I'm surprised it ain't slipped out of his damn his damn mouth. And I don't know what the hell he angry about. I ain't never seen. He is such a damn fool. I ain't never seen somebody that can't keep himself out of trouble to stay in
Mhm,
trouble. You
mhm.
know, to stay in trouble. And
Yeah, but
then
living a life of privilege and think nothing can impact you.
yeah,
That's the kind of attitude he has.
uh huh, yeah. But I ain't letting the Democratic Party slide either. And I'm gonna keep. They got a frontline just this week put out a documentary about Biden, and they was
Mhm,
showing footage of his decline. Lord, boy, Lisa, like I said, when you said what you said, it's like everything just accelerated on his behind. Um,
mhm.
um, he got 6 more months to go. I don't even think he can make the 6 months.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it
And
is.
like I said, I believe he came in office like that.
I
I
believe.
really do.
No,
I
you
think he
right,
came in
Lisa.
like that.
You know what? No, 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 no. You speaking something that's the truth. Um, when he was um, elected as president, distinctly remember there was an event at night where him and Kamala were out there on this, out there cheering on with the people, and there was a walkway, and he had to walk, and he was doing the old man shuffled in,
Mhm.
and I said, "Oh, he on his legs."
Yeah.
I said,
I
"That
mean,
don't
he
look
might
too
have had a
good."
little bit of his faculties, but I think he was already in decline.
Yeah, and Trump is in decline too.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. He sure is. You still just let him keep running his mouth. I mean, he remind me of a drunk that's just talking and anything just come out of his mouth. I don't
Well,
know
he did it with that helicopter story lie that he's now on.
how. Uh-huh.
He confused, I believe, Willie Brown with Jerry Brown when he
Yes.
tells that story. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And you know what? He hanging on to the damn story. He won't let it go.
And they already debunked it. The people that were on that helicopter said they were never in danger.
Uh-huh. But no, when he's told he's wrong, he won't let it go.
Mhm.
Ow,
Mhm.
he gonna dig his heels in, you know, and
Yep, that's
fight
what
with
he
folks.
does.
Uh-huh. Yep. Well, like my father said, buffoonery has a short duration, and he is a buffoon. And I don't know how somebody can campaign because the people that follow him are fools too. You gonna his campaign is calling people names. You ain't talking about nothing. I'm smart. She dumb. Um, I'm better. I'm this. I'm that. Oh shit!
You see
She
what's on the
died.
screen? Yes.
Oh my goodness! What in the
Y'all
hell?
remember Susan Wojcicki? She was the former CEO of YouTube.
What in
Well,
the
she just
hell?
died about a day ago at the age of 56, and she died of lung cancer.
Get out of here! Didn't her son die too?
Yep, a drug overdose.
Wow,
Mhm.
boy, that was real close to home. That's all I'm gonna say, Lisa.
Yeah,
Boy,
yeah.
sure did mess over a lot of folk.
They announced it yesterday, Saturday morning. I tried to come on and do a story on it, but I was having a lot of internet connection issues.
Yeah, that was
It
radio
wasn't
dragon.
until right, it wasn't until I did the Bible study that's when I could come on. Prior to that, I couldn't come on at all.
Damn, that shit came on quick on her ass.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep. So she died, I believe, like around the 9th. It was announced on the 10th, and her husband was the one that came out to tell everybody that she passed.
I am shocked. Shit. Oh my goodness.
56. I mean, that's pretty damn young.
That sure is. You took the words out of my mouth. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Mhm. Yep, yep. So, yeah, so that was probably the latest pretty big news, actually.
What
It
what what,
made
what
all
was
the publications.
what was blowing me away? I had just recently seen her um in an article, and she was with her husband,
Mhm.
and she looked fine.
Yeah,
But
yeah. But that is not the only shocking one. Did you hear that Farrakhan's son's wife died? Oh, let me see if I can pull that one up.
what?
Yeah, Louis Farrakhan's, son, he got a son, Mustafa.
Yes.
Mustafa's wife, I think she was only, 49 years old. She
Is
died, and they said it was unexpected. It
Mustafa
they
is the second oldest son, right?
Right. Mustafa is he's the one that looks a lot like Farrakhan. At
Yes, I
least
know
he
who you're
has
talking about.
gray. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, because he
but
as he got older, he kind of put on some weight.
yeah, he did.
He was a very nice looking man.
Yeah, he still is. He
Uh
still is
huh.
a nice looking man.
Uh
Here it
huh.
is. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. Just give
Wow.
me 1 second. Her name was Karen Farrakhan, and she was married to Mustafa, and they said she died unexpectedly. They did not see it coming. It shocked them. All right, hold
Wow.
on. I'll put it up on the screen.
Yeah, because as you're doing that, because Farrakhan's daughter is a nurse, and when Farrakhan had what kind of cancer was that he had?
Testicular. I
Yeah,
remember.
testicular. There it is. You took the words out of my mouth. Cancer. He allowed them to put those nuclear seeds in his testicles, and
Mhm.
there's a limited amount you're supposed to put. They put in no, there's a maximum. Yeah, you're supposed to limit it what you put in there. They put in up to that amount of those seeds, and he said his testicles felt like they was on fire, and his
Wow.
daughter had them to remove all of them seeds, and she took care of her father herself. See, Farrakhan
Wow.
had cancer twice.
Yeah, yeah, I did remember him, talking about that,
Uh huh.
saying he had it twice,
Yes.
and he beat it twice.
Yeah, and after that, his daughter takes care of him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, takes care of him. In Arizona, at first they wouldn't talk about it, but they do heavily now. A lot of people know when Farrakhan is in Arizona because people get sightings of those chariots. And since my oldest son has been down in Arizona, he said, "Mine, they all over Arizona. I don't know why they're more heavily in that particular region. I mean, they're everywhere, but in certain regions, you see them more so than everything um, and everything. But they follow Farrakhan because people
Mhm.
know when he in
Mhm.
town, they'd be like, Farrakhan's back. We're getting a bunch of sightings of these chariots, or what they call them UFOs, which I think is an insult, um, and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but, it's so, I like Louis Farrakhan. I don't agree with everything he said, but for the most part, I like him
Me
because
too.
I look at him as one of our revolutionaries. At
Hmm.
a time when it was not real popular for our people to speak up, they were speaking up.
Yeah,
And I will always respect them for that.
I watched his latest speech, which he gave. I think it was in February of this year. He had on a real nice gold suit, and Farrakhan is in his 90s. Lisa, that man
Mhm.
stood there on his feet for 3 hours, spoke with great clarity. Now, like anybody else, naturally you're gonna slow down, but other than that, he was clear.
Yeah,
Biden,
and he still got all his faculties too.
Biden and Trump cannot stand at the podium that long.
Mhm.
Oh, that's her. Okay.
This is, Mustafa's. wife who just passed, they said it was unexpected. She didn't show any signs of illness or anything. She was just 49 years old. She died this past Friday.
Wow.
When the story broke, they had Louis Farrakhan's wife. And when I saw the name, I said, wait a minute, his wife is Khadija. Her
Yeah.
name ain't Karen. And I said, no, they must have this wrong. So when I went to look a little further, come to find out she was the wife of Mustafa,
Hmm.
his son Mustafa,
Well,
and
that's
said this
that's
one caught them by surprise because they didn't see it coming. They said when they saw her the last time, she was the picture of health. She looked just fine.
yeah. This is his second wife.
49 years old. Wow.
She is young. Remember, I was telling you,
Mhm.
Lisa. Um,
Yeah, she was beautiful. Mhm.
um, um, talking about wives. I was looking at on Instagram. I was looking at Jim Brown's profile, and I was looking at naturally it was pictures there of his wife and his son and daughter from and stuff. And do you know? I was saying, wow, this sister show looked good, for her age, not knowing her age. So when Jim Brown passed, he was 86 years old. Do you know his wife is 47 years old?
Yeah, she was in her 20s when they got married, and I think he was already 60 when they got married. He was in his 60s.
And they had two children together. They're adults now. I
Yes.
said, "Oh my
Mhm.
goodness.
Yep.
I didn't know she was so young."
Yeah. And they had their relationship was not always good. It was pretty volatile too.
Yes, it was. Yeah, cuz I was
Mhm.
getting the news up here. Um and I remember that he had to go to court for that situation, and the judge um told him that he was going to have to go to like one of them women one of those women battered shelters and do some volunteering. And he told her he wasn't doing none of that shit. And she said, "I'll lock you up." He said, "You can lock me up right now." And that judge was so angry because she could tell that it didn't phase him at all.
Mhm.
Mm-mm, no way. And I hate that he had her to go out there and do a press conference and say that she was mentally ill and all that. And I said, Jim Brown, come on now. Um, y'all need to get y'all stuff together and stop fighting. And
Yeah.
after a while, you didn't hear nothing. The only thing that upset me with Jim Brown was when Trump first started running for office. Um, they had interviewed him, um, and his wife was right there with him. And Jim Brown said he loved Trump. I said, okay,
Yeah, I
she need to
remember seeing that.
she need to keep his behind in the house. He didn't got old because the young Jim Brown wouldn't have said that.
Mhm.
Not at
Mhm.
all. Mm-mm.
That's why some people referred to him as a coon before before he passed because he really did flip.
Yeah, he sure did. I said, no, that is not, no, he not well. If he's saying this mess, it's time to keep his butt in. We don't need him saying
Oh,
that.
okay. Danielle Meyer, you said Minister Farrakhan's son Joshua passed away in November. Wow. It's
Joshua,
almost like you wait. Let me look that up. Hold on.
isn't one of his sons married to a white woman?
Farrakhan.
I know his oldest son
Yeah,
passed.
he sure did.
What? Get out of here.
I think this one was younger than Mustafa. Yeah, he
Are
was
you serious,
64
Lisa?
years old. He was 64 years old.
Get out of here.
Joshua Farrakhan. Yep.
So he done lost.
November, he died November 25th, 2023. Wow, I mean, isn't it amazing? He's outliving his kids. I never wow.
Wow. Do you have a picture of him?
Yes, hold on, let me pull it up.
Because I
Let's
can't picture that one. I don't know all their names anyway.
see, first call. I want to go on the Nation of Islam site for this one. Yeah, celebration of life for Joshua Farrakhan. All right, let me put it up on the screen.
Huh.
All right, pull it over here. stop sharing that one. And so this is the Nation of Islam's website that this one's on. Here he is, Joshua Farrakhan, in celebration of life service. And they look like they had a service like around the 28th of 2023 in November.
That's the one, Lisa. He was that's the one that was married to the white woman.
Oh, okay. It was this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember his face very well. I just couldn't recall his name.
But
And I
here
think
he
they had
is.
I think they had two children together.
Mm-hmm.
But he also was a part of his father's security.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so he done outlived two of his children.
Mm-hmm.
But I had heard the first son that died, he had health problems.
Yeah, he has some heart issues.
Yeah,
And
so I mean, so that one was a little more understandable, but I didn't know, much about Joshua Farrakhan.
yeah, and the house that Farrakhan has in Arizona. First, it was Elijah Muhammad's house. Is literally a stone's throw away from my aunt's house. It's right
Yeah,
in.
no,
It's
no, he had one child that was married to a white woman, and this is the one. Hmm.
yes, this is the
I
one.
did hear about that. I heard about that a couple of years ago.
Hmm. And that particular house is still in the hood.
Hmm.
Nobody bothers that. Well, they got 24-hour security at that house because uh, it's a very interesting house. The house is circular, um,
Uh,
and 24 hours a day they got security there. If somebody there is not, but he do go down there. I go down there quite a bit, and I think he do it for his health.
right.
Because
Well, Emma Melton, you said Donald Trump's attempted assassination is proven to be false. Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. First of all, look at his ear. You don't see a single mark on his ear.
he was they talked about that even also on that interview with Amarosa and Cohan, that it
Uh-huh.
was either um what they call that, strapno, or some of the, because they have like one of those plexiglasses right up in front of them.
Mhm.
Something could have ricocheted off of there from him, and then he wouldn't allow the doctors to come out and do a press conference about uh, what happened to him and his progress. Like if a president is sick, it's not
Right.
unusual for the doctor to come out and give a press conference. And you know how Trump is. He
Who was that though? If you remember when he got C-19, you
hmm
remember those doctors didn't really speak then. He came out. Remember, he went back to the White House and went out on the balcony.
and he
You
could
remember
barely breathe.
that? Yeah. And you
I
could see his
remember that.
breathing was
He was
labored. Yeah.
Yeah, he could barely breathe. But I remember when he was first running for office, he was at a talk show, and he holding this one piece of paper, and the way he was treating it like it was a piece of gold. And it was a report from the doctor for his physical, and the stuff that was in that so-called report about his health from a so-called doctor was laughable. Said he was in robust health. They said doctors don't even use those type of words.
Right.
He he is a trip.
Mhm.
That's all I can say. I'm robust health. I said, okay, I'm gonna leave that right there. I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna leave that right there, Trump. You're in
Yeah.
robust health.
But if you remember, those doctors did not speak then either. He just showed up at the White House, got on the balcony, and you could clearly see his breathing was labored, and he just stood there. You remember that?
Yeah, I
He
remember
just
that
stood
very
there.
well. Uh-huh. He could hardly breathe. And the thing that got me, they said when he was in the hospital, they couldn't even get him to lay in the bed. He a trip.
No, remember they took and drove him around, and so he could wave from the car, and the doctors were upset that he left the hospital.
Yeah, because he too busy trying to. He want people to feel sorry for him.
Mm.
But let your ass get sick. He's so disgusting. Like when he told his nephew, when it come to people that's handicapped, just let them die.
Yeah, but I raised this issue. I did a live stream on that. And I said, I find that strange that he takes that position because isn't his son barren with a
Yes,
disability? Isn't he autistic?
yes, he
Autism,
is.
the last I looked, is a disability. So does that child deserve to not be here?
Yeah, there's something wrong with that boy.
And I said, he don't think before he talks.
Mm-mm.
He
He
don't
make
think.
himself he make himself look stupid all day long.
Hmm.
And the people that like, okay, now presidents and stuff, they have um people that will advise you. um he don't listen to them. What he wants them to do is praise him and tell him how wonderful he is all day. He's
Yeah,
always right. You can't tell him he wrong.
yeah.
you know
Hmm.
it's very noticeable. Pence ain't came out and said nothing. um Pence don't want to have nothing to do with him.
No, he don't.
Mm-mm.
When that I think when I'm sorry, January 6th happened, he was
Hmm.
done with him. He was done with Donald Trump,
I'll
and he
never
was done with him.
Lisa, I'll never forget that day you called me and you said, Kim, do you see what's going on TV? And I'm like, no, what's going on? And because I don't watch TV. And you had me to cut that on, and me and you watched that while we was on the phone. I was shocked, shitless. I said, my goodness. And I tell you what even shocked me even more, because they were showing it for days. So it came back on, and I wasn't even looking at the TV, and it sounded like animals to me. That's what it sounded like. Just a bunch
Mhm.
of animals. All them sounds they was making. And um and you take somebody like, even though Trump ain't been punished for it, I know Giuliani have, messing with that black woman. And
Mhm.
when they got up and had hearings about that, and they was what was they doing? Sending pizzas to her grandmother's house, hundreds of pizzas.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
And they kept suing them and getting millions more.
it was crazy. um
Mhm.
just messing over that black woman and her mama. And he got that judgment put on him. And that just broke his behind all the way down. That's what Giuliani get. You think his friend gonna help him? Nope. You on your own.
No, he ain't never gonna help them.
No, he not gonna help.
All
Gonna
right,
help
y'all.
him.
Just for a laugh, here's Donald Trump made out of ham and cheese.
Who?
Donald Trump made out of ham and cheese.
Oh Lord, you should see some of the Lisa. You should see some of the memes they got out of this man.
Oh man.
Oh Lord, somebody took the time to put that together. Oh, that's
Yeah, it's Donald
disgusting.
Trump made out of ham and cheese.
Look at that hair. Look at that hair. You know, Lisa, he said, they were saying he the only one that combs that mess, because he don't want nobody to know he bald.
Mhm.
You know, damn, they used a lot of him.
They sure did.
It looked
But he
just
do
like
got
him.
they got that big blockhead. He got that big blockhead though. You need a lot of
That is funny. With all that plastic ass cheese on the top of his head.
them. Uh-huh.
You, you
Mm.
pay me to eat that cheese.
Wow.
That shit ain't real. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I'm taking joy in watching him melt down on the world stage. He just
I
melt.
know, right?
How
Oh
many?
man, they did a side by side because both him and Kamala were both in Atlanta at the same time doing rallies. I
Uh-huh.
think Kamala I think Trump did his first and then Kamala did hers. They were done on the same day.
Uh-huh.
Kamala had a packed house. When you looked at Donald Trump's rally, you could see all these empty seats. And they did a side by side, and Donald Trump had a meltdown.
He sure did. And you know what
Oh,
excuses
he
he
had a
was using?
meltdown.
He was saying that they wouldn't let the people in the venue, and it was mil what he said, thousands and hundreds and thousands of people outside waiting to get in and stuff. Well, show the footage.
Right.
Then show the footage. And
Mhm.
see, he don't read nothing, so he watched TV all day. So that stuff was getting to him, and it's gonna get to him even more everywhere she go. Um, they filling up these venues,
Mhm.
and when he had that press conference, he was just he was in his feelings. He was sulking, and then in one day he sent out over 100 not emails, but like different statements, different memes. He
Yeah,
sent out
he was on Truth Social posting. He was posting out there.
pictures.
Yeah, and he was posting all this stuff trying to drag Kamala, and they said he started posting at 3 a.m. So he can't even sleep. He
No,
gets out of bed just to do that.
yeah, that it's bothering him, and as old as his ass is, he need all the sleep he can get. Um,
Mhm.
and stuff. And he and another thing they've been talking about, he ain't been out there campaigning. They've been sending his VP pick. They
Yeah,
don't like him.
JD Vance. Yeah, they said nobody likes him. The
Trump don't
MAGA
even like him.
people, the MAGA people don't like him because he got an East Indian wife,
Hmm.
and they got 3 kids, all with East Indian names. So
Hmm.
they're pissed off because they didn't know he had an East Indian wife,
Hmm.
and he'd have made a lot of women mad in the country from statements he made, and yeah,
Hmm.
he's very unlikable.
No, yeah, he sure is. He sure is.
And they said behind the scenes, even Trump is complaining about him.
mm-mm, and his niece said when he does take advice. Okay, so they claim his son is the one that said, make this guy your VP pick. If it don't
Yeah,
work
he
out,
thinks with Don Jr. Mm-hmm.
that's who he gonna blame.
Mm-hmm. But
You know,
yeah,
you.
JD Vance and Don Jr. are friends.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems to me like Don Jr. was able to convince Donald Trump to pick JD Vance.
Uh
And the
huh.
problem is nobody likes him. Even people within the Republican Party, they don't like him. He don't come off as really a good people person. His
Oh.
communication skills are terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I watched some of his interviews. You can't even get through an interview listening to that guy.
No, you can't. No, yeah, because they had interviewed him yesterday, trying to clean up some of them statements that he made. You can't
Hmm.
clean that up.
Yeah.
You can't clean that up. Uh-uh.
Hmm.
It's too late. Meant was no. What you meant was what you said, and I'm glad he said it just the way he said it. That's what he meant, you
Right.
know. And they don't know what how to campaign, so he just gonna campaign on insults.
Yeah, that's all he does, though. But if you look at his rallies,
Mm-hmm.
Trump don't talk about policies. If you watch his rally, all he does is stay on the stage ranting. He
Mm-hmm.
rants about who he always does this rundown on people he don't like. He criticizes this person. He criticizes that person. And Kamala got a low IQ. And this person is stupid. And that person is dumb. And I mean, and that's his rally.
Yeah, yeah,
That's literally his rally. His rally is not, I'm going to put this policy in place. I'm going to do this. Nope. It's all insulting people.
yeah. And I
I
got a
don't
high IQ. He was
Yeah.
talking, yeah,
Yeah, his
all that
IQ
mess.
is high and everybody else's IQ is low. I don't see how anybody can sit in an audience and listen to that.
Yeah, and they get something out of it. The ones that do sit up and put up with That's all you got to say to them, and that make them feel good that he displayed his racism or his whatever his isms are, and you feel good for the day, um, and stuff. And like I said, these people think they are part of some type of elite group. They still got to pay the same gas prices we pay. They still got to pay the same kind of prices for groceries. Nothing changes for them either
Mhm. Mhm.
at
And
all.
and a lot of people are like, maybe some of all this inflation will go down when Donald
Nope,
Trump get in office. And I said
nope.
this before, it's not. It's not because the dollar is worth less than what it was worth when he was in office his first term.
Mm-hmm.
The dollar has lost a lot of value
Okay, okay,
over the
okay.
last few years. So they can't Trump, even
Okay,
if
see,
he gets in office, he can't do nothing about the inflation.
okay, folks don't be paying attention to stuff. Okay, okay. Trump's supposed to be this brilliant businessman. Every business he has ever had has failed.
Yeah, but didn't he get all these indictments through the business he was doing?
Yeah, everything he touched when he start out something, the foundation of it is fraudulent, corrupted. He didn't, like I said, in America, as much as folks like to gamble in America, I ain't never heard of a casino going bankrupt. As much money is running through a casino. Somebody's
Right.
stealing.
Mhm. And that happened right in my state when he shut down his casinos. I
So that
remember it made big news around here.
so I've heard people use that argument. Well, he's this brilliant businessman and he could get America out of this and that.
Then why does
And
he have 34 indictments all tied to his businesses?
hmm
All those indictments he got are tied directly to his businesses.
yeah, all yeah.
So how the hell do you get 34 indictments and you're a top-notch business person?
You a top notch business person. You can't get a loan um from this country. He can't even go to a loan shark in this country and get a penny. That speaks volumes. So he got to tuck his tail, go overseas, and he beholden to them folks. So he also want to get in office, steal money from this country, and get himself um, out of his problem. He got a lot of problems.
Yes, he does, because they said, I think there's over 50 more indictments they said he could possibly get on top of the 34.
hmm
So, and like I said, all of his indictments are directly related to the fact that he did all kinds of shady business
hmm
and illegal things in business.
Yeah. Well, I have they often talk about, I think that so-called book he wrote, which we know somebody else, the art of the deal and all this stuff.
Mhm.
Please, the Trump University, because you was the one that was the first one. See, it helps a lot when somebody um is like I often say, I live in Campbell country. It helps a lot when somebody is directly living in those states, and you was the one revealing all that stuff to me, and I was like, oh, they gonna get Trump and his kids on this, and you was like, ain't nothing gonna happen. And
Mhm.
I started paying close attention to what you were saying. I said, okay, she much closer to New York than I am, way closer. So you also getting the local stuff that we don't always necessarily get throughout the years,
Mhm.
and that made a lot of sense. But then I watched his documentary on Netflix, and it was really deep to watch that because it showed his younger years when his dad was still alive, and he
Mhm.
started getting into opening these casinos, and his dad was telling him he needed to slow down. He couldn't tell him nothing,
His
and
dad was the one that bailed him out when he was alive.
and
Every time Trump messed up in business, it was his father that would bail him out.
yeah, and then yeah, so he never had to worry about having to pay anybody back. And then his father died. He runs through all his dad's money and then go to the bank and get a loan from them. Ain't gonna pay them back at all.
Mhm.
But see, Putin and them, he gonna pay them back, or they gonna get it out of him one way or the other. Them people is
Mhm.
not to be. See, he glorified them gangsters over there. Trump don't have the heart to be what they are. Not at all.
Mhm.
He in love with Kim Jong Un with his fat behind. He ain't thought nothing of killing his relatives off.
Yeah, well, from what I understand, he's not in that great of health now.
I wouldn't be
He's not in good
surprised.
health. He's
And
having a
Trump
lot of health problems.
and when Putin come around, he just act like a damn puppy. And
Mhm.
Putin literally laughs in Trump's face. Remember that one time he was overseas and he was in his feelings because he felt people that was talking about him and he got the pouting.
Oh yeah, that was over in UK. They were talking crap about him at a gathering, and it was, I think, the royals and the UK politicians and stuff and world leaders, and they were just all standing around, just pretty much mocking him.
Uh-huh.
And he got wind of it, and yeah, and I think he leave earlier than
Well,
he should have.
well, before then, what had happened was um his daughter was there, and they was shunning his daughter too as well.
Oh yeah, because he had her sit in with the world leaders, and she shouldn't have been there at all.
Yeah, and then he was sitting next to the president of France or the prime minister or whatever you call him, and he started talking bad about him and talking about you need to turn over that money you owe us, and then he pretty much called him a traitor, and he was hurt. He had the nerve to be hurt, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he did eventually did leave, but they I read an article they were saying that when Trump go overseas, it always go wrong. By day 3, he just don't do good overseas. He have a temper tantrum. He always abruptly
Probably
get
the
up and
time
leave.
zone. Yeah, it's probably the time zone differences. It's hard on somebody that's up in age
He
to
ain't
be
doing.
switching time zones.
He
Yeah, some of those time zones you're 8, 9, 10 hours ahead, you
well, he
know?
wanted, he wanted to be the damn president. I don't give a damn.
Mm-hmm.
Suffer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they were
That he
saying
will.
I was reading an article about when he first was in office, and like I said, I mentioned this before, where they sit down and go over the briefings, and people were saying who was real close and observing things. They say Trump would sit there about 5-10 minutes and just walk off. His staff would do the same thing because he's the leadership. They wouldn't be doing shit up in there. They don't be
Mhm.
having when he in office. They don't be sitting down having no serious meetings.
But don't you remember he said he ended his day, I think, like 1 o'clock every day?
Get out of here. Oh
Donald
yeah, that's
Trump was
right.
only Donald Trump only worked, I think, like 3 hours a day. That
Yeah,
was
that's
it.
right. I forgot about that because they was talking about how lazy he is. Yeah,
Mhm. He thought that
He
he
turns
was
in
giving a
early.
lot to the yeah, he thought he was giving a lot to the country by working 3 hours a day.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he turns in very early. Then he go in
Mhm.
there and he go and then what he do is after he turn in, he go send somebody to go get him a McDonald's, and then he probably go watch him some cartoons or something. And I'm not exaggerating.
Oh no, 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 no. And plus, didn't they say he cost the American government way more money than any previous president, with
Yes.
Secret Service protecting his family?
Mm-hmm.
And the Secret Service could not stand Donald Trump, y'all. He would send them out for his Big Mac runs at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, that's not what we're supposed to do. But he would send them out there for his fast food in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he had to have that. Yeah, that tickled me when they was talking about what little work he do,
Hmm.
and then he was boasting how he learned foreign policy by watching TV. Just told on his damn self. Remember,
Hmm.
Lisa? You remember one time they begged Trump not to go out and do a press conference, and he had wrote something on a piece of paper, and one of the cameramans was able to angle the camera towards what was on the paper, and
Hmm.
it looked like he had wrote whatever he wrote. Looked like he wrote it with a marker in big
Hmm.
letters, and he was reading that whatever that stuff was, because he made up his own words. What kofifi, um,
Yeah. Bigly.
Bigly, I don't know. What do Kofifi mean? You
But
can't tell me.
I found out what bigly was though.
Yeah, I know what bigly means,
I know
but
with that.
I've been asking folks for the longest. What do Kofifi mean?
We don't speak Donald Trump. We don't speak no
Somebody said his family spent all that money on him to get that education, and this is what they produced.
That's because he didn't get that education. That's
Oh,
why
and
it
they
came
bought
out
it.
his sister was doing all the homework for him. He didn't do his own homework. His sister did it.
Remember, Mary Trump she had I'll be right back. I'm gonna be on mute. No, I'm on mute.
All right, y'all. So yeah, so we're gonna conclude soon. We just wanted to come and chop it up a bit. And plus I kind of felt bad that I didn't do much yesterday because I couldn't get on. So I'm gonna try to get a few videos in for tonight. And and look, if many of you are looking for my hair growth products, I added a few new things. All you got to do is go to the community tab and look at what I posted there. So I hope that many of you that are shopping for my stuff find what you're looking for. I did have a man
I'm back.
subscriber is that okay, that was asking for a beard oil, and I will work on that. If that's something the men want, I will definitely do a beard oil. I just gotta, do some research and see what
Oh yeah,
herbs are really good and put that together for you.
yeah. I got a toothpaste for y'all.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to send you a batch of it, Lisa.
Oh, okay. No, I
Yeah.
mean that my storytelling. I no, I actually did that unscripted. I did not write any script. I just did that off the top of my head.
She stole that from me because I ain't did it in a while. The Cave in the Coons. I
Okay.
I need to get back on my series, and I do mine's unscripted. She just stole it from me. That's all she did. She hate over here hating.
Oh
My
man,
my
oh
cherries,
man.
my cherries are better than her cherries. Hers is
Yeah,
all
she's
kind of
probably right. She's probably
uh-huh.
right about that. She's over there in that sunny state of California. Yeah.
But my cherries are much bigger. They a lot bigger. I'm using Trump
Mm,
language.
yeah, yeah, right.
uh-huh,
Wow.
they,
So funny.
uh-huh. I'm winning by a lot.
Hmm.
I
Well,
said it
Lady
was.
Butterfly 25, thank you. You said good. I'm glad people are getting results. You should. If you follow the directions on the hair oil and use it exactly as I have it on there instructed, you should see some few extra inches on your head. You should
How long
have
she
that.
how long she been using it?
Well, it couldn't have been that long because I didn't start selling until May.
Okay.
So, but usually most people see results in about 3 to 4 weeks. 3 to 4 weeks, if you use it consistently, at least 2 to 3 times a week, you should see some inches coming in.
Wow.
It really works pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've gotten all kinds of, does it work for alopecia? And does it work? Yeah, yeah, it works for many things.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Yeah,
your
that's
beard, even if you got a beard that's not coming in right, it'll help your beard come in.
yeah, it's like that soap I bought from you really helped my husband's psoriasis on his skin. It just wiped it out.
Hmm.
I mean, he used it like 3 or 4 times, and we've seen results. And that's all he can use. He can't use nothing else. We done bought so many different type of soaps.
Hmm.
Can't use nothing else. I think I bought like 20 bars from you or something.
Yeah.
I was scared he was gonna run out. Hmm.
Yeah. I still got a box. In fact, I found one. Loretta was the one that led me to it. I forgot all about it. She was in my closet, and I bent down to take a look at her, and my box was right there. I said, "Now, see, why didn't you tell me my African soap was in the closet, you stupid cat?"
She gonna answer back one day. You gonna be running out that house.
Um, but she led me right to it, so I'm glad she ain't stupid cat. I love Loretta.
Oh, did you tell folks that my cat passed? I
No,
lost.
I didn't tell a lot of people. No, I figure, I would kind of
Yeah,
let you tell it.
yeah. My cat Shaka passed. It's been what, 2 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
And when he died in the kitchen. He was laying on um, a brand new mop we had bought, and he just laid there and kicked his legs real gentle. And then Royal came up to him, and she got real close, and she stood back, and I said, Omari, Shaka's dying. And we watched him die, and he died very peaceful. It still hurt like hell, but uh,
Yeah.
I had that cat since 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
um, he did live a long life. I only known him to be sick once. But what got me was, Lisa, the day before that night before he passed, he still was doing the same stuff. I ate a piece of chicken. He was begging for the chicken.
Uh-huh.
Then he went and took a dump on the floor. Um, and Amari said he was leaving us packages before he left, um, and stuff. And he maintained his personality all the way through. But what frightening was he had lost weight so fast.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even like picking him up because he was so light. He never lost his appetite. He kept going outside playing, and he just laid down and just keeled over. Said that's it.
Yeah. That's
So
how my
shut.
dog died. He just died. He died in my room on
Uh-huh.
the floor. And I remember the night before he died, I picked him up and I just held him, you know, and he just was just, laying in my lap looking at me. And I was just rubbing him, just trying to comfort him. And I
Hmm.
put him down that night. And when I woke up in the morning, he was gone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
he was gone.
So we took him and buried him in the river.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's what. Yeah, me, my son, and Omari went out. It's a well, actually a lake. It's a really
Uh-huh.
beautiful lake that we live by, and we decided to. We put him in a bag, then we put him in a pillowcase and put some rocks in there, and just put him in
Mm-hmm.
there. Well, he ain't in there technically and stuff, but I ain't gonna lie, I miss that little crazy ass cat. So
Hell
now,
yeah. I miss my dog. I had him 19 years, and to this very day I will still think about him and still remember certain things that happened. And he was kind of funny. He was a little trickster, but I do miss him.
yeah, and but before he passed, like I was telling Lisa this, I said, because I had never had a pet that long. He went senile on me. He would be in the bathroom howling. I didn't know they did all of that stuff when they
Yeah,
get old.
they go through dementia just like people do. They
Hmm.
do. They go through the old age process just like people do.
Yeah. Uh huh.
Some of them get cataracts just like people.
Hmm.
They develop heart problems, a lot of the aging, arthritis, everything that we get, the pets get too.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
we plan to get, because we down to one cat. We plan to get two more.
Mhm.
Yeah. And right now, I guess they having a kitty explosion. When I checked at the pound, they selling two cats for $20.
Yeah. Well, if you go to the shelter at the right time, when I got Loretta, I didn't even have to pay anything for her. They said during the winter and spring, you
Mm-hmm.
can just come up and just pick out whatever cat you want, and that's it. You don't have to pay nothing.
I'm gonna check that out.
So I went up there. When I went up there, it was March. It was still, in fact, it was just before spring,
Uh huh.
like a week before. And that's when I found Loretta.
Mm-hmm.
And Loretta was they said she was up there for 6 weeks before I came and adopted her.
Well, I know one thing. You'd be amazed how many. organizations out there for pets. Like if you got to get them spayed or neutered up here in the
Mhm.
Bay Area,
Mhm.
this one place we found, they'll spade or neuter them, give them their shots, and chip them.
Right.
And then, and,
That's what Loretta got. Mhm.
and then they gave us, like they did a whole complete physical. They took their temperature. They gave them a flea treatment. I mean, they give them the works. And then I found another organization. They give out pet food free um, every month.
Mhm.
Well, these folks sure love their animals.
Yes, they do.
So it's like they say if you don't have the money, because they have a program for seniors, they will give the senior the pet, take care of all their needs and the food. They don't have to worry about nothing.
Mhm.
But plus, them seniors, they make great companions. Because I seen a documentary where they brought some, they brought some, they brought pets in, and it gave life to the seniors because they would just be sitting there all day, and they just did an experiment, and that really gave them some life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I
So.
believe that.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's hard losing a pet. I'm looking in the comment section. I see many of y'all have lost pets too that you're talking about. Your
Hmm.
cat died of congested heart failure, Astarte Jones. Yeah, that's sad. One of my relatives, that happened to her cat down in Florida. She said her cat went outside and she found her cat on the ground in the back of the yard.
Mm.
And when they got the cat to the vet, the veterinarian told them the cat had a heart attack.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my
Mhm.
goodness!
Yeah.
Wow.
And and I think they just had the cat put down because, there was no guarantee it was going to be any kind of recovery because the cat was already up in age.
Yeah, that's like
So
I had.
they just decided to just let the cat go.
Yeah, 2 years ago I had to put Mink down, and he had cancer. And what broke my heart was we didn't even know he had cancer,
Hmm.
and he suffered like that. And he didn't show no signs. You have to watch cats. Cats is real sneaky. Something can be wrong with them, and they real secretive with their illnesses.
Hmm.
Yeah, they real secretive. And before he died, he took care of Royal. He would play with her. He would, he just took care of her. And he was
Hmm.
sitting there dying, and she was over there playing with him. She didn't know no better.
Right.
But I learned something from you. You said, because I let my pets outside. You said them being under cars and then pesticides in the grass. That's how they get cancer.
Hmm.
I never even thought of it like that. Uh,
Yeah. And they said even, the puddles of water
mm-hmm.
out there after a rain, because that's a lot of that water is runoff from the lawns,
Yes.
and that water got pesticides in it. And I've seen cats drink from puddles, and they
Yeah.
really shouldn't be doing that because it's got all kinds of pesticides and stuff that are used on lawns running into the street into those puddles,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's true.
you know. But
Mm-hmm.
I know they're not all strays, but I know some of them are. Some of them are strays, especially around where I am.
Yeah. In fact, Royal got sick the other day. She had a bad stomach ache. We think she ate a mice and got sick.
Yeah, she could have.
Yeah, she
Hmm.
was sick for 2 days, and we gave her
Hmm.
antibiotics, and we had to give her pain medicine. I happen to have all that here for her, and
Hmm.
in the pain medicine they make it up according to their weight. They
Right.
take they take the same kind of pain medicine we take, just in a liquid
Yeah,
form.
they sure do.
Hmm.
They sure do. In fact, they even got opioids for pets,
Hmm.
especially
That's.
if they do surgery on them. Yeah, they get opioids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
exactly what I had to do. So um, here's what it is.
that's why, if y'all remember, during when I was doing all those videos on the opioid epidemic, there were some of them addicts were harming their pets because they were trying to get opioids that way.
I
They would
remember
harm
learn that
their
was,
pets. and then take the pet to the vet, and the vet would give them opioids.
Yeah, that's the
They would
first
get
time I
high.
had even heard. That was the
Mm,
first time I had even heard of anything like that through your videos. I was like, now that's desperate.
yeah, it's
You gonna
sad. I
get
feel sorry for the pet.
yeah, you gonna take your pet's pain medicine.
Mhm. Yeah.
This is crazy.
Mhm.
I would have never
And
even
that's
thought
still,
of that.
believe it or not, that's still going strong.
What?
That opioid epidemic is still going strong.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, they recently did a report saying how the deaths are increasing again. It
Mm-hmm.
never went anywhere. Remember, they
Mm-hmm.
can't do nothing about it. It's
Mm-hmm.
so many people, it is so widespread, they literally can't do nothing about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 We didn't have that discussion. People that's like me, that's legitimately in pain, they're making it harder and harder for you to get pain medication. You go to one of these
Yeah.
pain clinics, they want you to go see a psychologist.
Mhm.
And luckily the clinic that I go to, they said it mine is very well documented. They were surprised I was walking around the way that I did. Uh, and
Yeah.
stuff. They got so many people it ain't even it's not even funny. It is
Wow.
ridiculous. They got people coming. One lady says she drives over 100 miles just to come to the pain clinic. And see what they did was the doctor's the one that overprescribed these people. Then
Yes,
what
they
they
did.
do then what they
Mm.
do is they go from one extreme to the next. Then they underprescribe the folks, and then you got people that's caught in between all of that mess.
Yeah, but when they first were given opioids out, if y'all remember, they would only give black people 2 weeks at a time because they claimed we were going to sell it. But it
Mhm,
was not us selling it, it was white people selling it. They
mhm,
were selling it. But
mhm,
they limit what we got because they claimed we were going to sell it. But look at who got hit the worst, their own people.
mhm, mhm. And
You know,
up here, up here,
divine intervention.
up here in California, these white folks is going up to the state capitol protesting about their pain medicine. They
Mm,
are going off. See,
mhm.
when it affects them, it don't matter if it affects us. Um, they
But
gonna
see, I think what they're doing is very extreme. You
it
know,
is.
they go from one extreme to the next. And I mean, to punish everybody because y'all got junkies, really self created junkies.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should not be punished for that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's really upsetting um, um, white folks that they didn't cut off their medicine, and
Yeah.
so
I
it's
mean,
time to
there's a lot
it's
of people legitimately in pain and they're not junkies.
yeah, I'm one of
And
them.
they're getting screwed over. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, because when we were talking about, remember when I told you what Amari went through when he had his surgery, uh, and they gave him pain medicine to last for 5 days.
Yeah.
And it took 3 weeks before that pain subsided after having getting that kidney removed. He said
Hmm.
that thing was painful.
Oh, hell yeah. Anytime you get cut open and something's removed from your body, hell yeah.
Hmm.
That had to be excruciating for him.
Yeah, he was and then he said when he was in the hospital, they only gave him a shot of pain medicine once, and then the whole time he was in the hospital, they just gave him Tylenol.
Yeah, that's not good enough.
And I told his doctor about it, and me and his doctor got into it, and he's looking all in the charts and stuff, and he wanted to make me out as a lie, and I said I'm not pleased with your services. I didn't care if he was a brother or not. I said if you look at his history, he's not a person that takes a lot of medication. He's in pain.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, he's doing just fine. We don't want nobody to get addicted. Oh Lord. But the question I asked, if they had that surgery done on them, would they take the same approach? No, they'd
Mm,
be hollering for something too.
right.
Yeah, he said it was shocking what kind of pain he was in. It really was. Um, I'm glad that we didn't got past that point,
Mhm.
um, and stuff. But when we were talking about it, I was reading the comments on your channel, and it was people saying that they had cancer and they was only getting a 10-day supply or a 5-day
Yeah,
supply.
yeah,
I'm like, Lord have mercy.
outrageous. Mhm. I mean,
Hmm.
it's absolutely outrageous what they've done.
Hmm.
You caused the problem and this is how you fix it?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So you do major surgery on someone. Oh yeah. My stepdaughter had a C-section and they sent her home with 3 pills.
Wow.
I'm like, what?
Mhm.
Now I don't know what that feel like, but I can imagine somebody cut you like that. You're gonna need more than 3 pills.
Mhm. Yeah, you sure will.
Yeah, that's
You
amazing.
sure will.
Yeah.
So, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. It was fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and eat me a big, huge potato salad bowl of cherries.
Okay.
That's what I'm
And
gonna do.
I will have my bedtime story available after midnight.
Mhm.
If you want to watch it again, you can watch it again through this if you want to watch it through the live stream. But on regular video, I'll be showing it again.
Okay.
All right, y'all.
All right,
You enjoy
Lisa.
the rest of your night. Shalom,
Y'all have
family.
everybody have a good evening.